Hey guys, so we're back on this Troy Bilt, and I just got done sharpening all the tines on it. And since the gentleman is going to be using it to cut some virgin ground, make sure they're all sharp. So we got 4 sets of knife blades under here now. And while I was under here, I noticed that the left tire there is low. So I got a bottle of goop we're going to squirt in there and pump it back up. But in the meantime, we got our throttle cable in, so I cut that to size and zip tied it. So that's hooked up. So now you can rev it and let it idle, although there is no throttle stop on it, so that is the governor. So you can't really over rev it too much because you don't want to blow this thing. So I just had to put the little kink in the end here. And then we also got the muffler installed. Just went to the hardware store and picked up some 1-inch pipe and painted it. But as you see, it's already rusting. But I did coat it with anti-seize in the block here. So we got a muffler. And now I should probably replace that fuel filter and the fuel line. But we also got the reverse pulley in, which is that one right there. So it just drops down onto that transmission pulley right there when you engage it. So there's reverse right there. But it does, the belts need a little bit of adjustment on aligning because they will kick that belt out. So I think I just need to put a little bit of a spacer, maybe some washers, so it shifts it over just a smidge, maybe like an eighth inch, maybe a 1/4 inch, something like that. So we'll have to space that out. But other than that, it's ready for some dirt once we address the reverse pulley in the tires here. I might as well just squirt some goop into that tire just to be safe. But let me do that, get it all patched up here, and we'll do a cold start on it. No cold start just yet, so in order to put the spacer in, I had to take the engine off of it, and I'll put a 1/8 inch spacer back behind here, and then reinstall everything. So that's kind of the downside. But it was relatively easy to take off, just the 4 bolts, and then you plop it up here with this 2x4, and it'll stay there. And then when you put the cage on, you wedge a board right here so it has something to butt up against. But we have to do that in order for these pulleys to line up right so the belt doesn't slip off. So we don't want to do that. But since it's off anyway, might as well replace the recoil rope. Although, I mean, it doesn't look bad, but while I have it off, might as well, because it's kind of a pain in the butt to get this recoil starter off while it's on the machine. You just have these bolts going around here, and of course it's starting to rain, so I'll get back on this and figure out what I'm going to use as a spacer. Probably just a washer. I might even make one out of some aluminum I have, but we'll see what we have and we'll go from there, guys. So I'm going to stop getting wet and go see what I can do about that spacer. Alright, so I ended up just making a aluminum washer on my lathe in there, and it sure isn't pretty, but it'll get the job done. It's just an 1/8 inch width and then a 3/4 inch shaft. So I'm hoping once I bolt everything together, everything will line up alright. And I'll just go ahead and change out the recoil rope off camera here, and we'll put it back on the engine here. Alright, well, not so much off camera, but look at the design on this. All it does is just wedge the rope in between these 2 plates. You don't tie a knot or anything, and the spring itself is kept underneath everything, and it doesn't flail out when you pull up on it. But this rope is definitely old. I mean, it's in just fine condition, but it's probably best to just replace it as we have it apart. And then it has just the usual little pawls that kind of flip out and engage it. But it's kind of an interesting design on this Kohler here that I thought I'd share. But let me wrap this up and get it back on the machine here. Alright, so we got everything back together again. Stuck the motor back on. So recoil works good. I had to go buy 2 new washers, and in order to have the pulleys line up properly, so I had to buy 2 55-cent washers to move that pulley out just about a 1/4 inch. So now the belt lines up great, along with the reverse disc. Everything else works just fine. I tried taking that tire off, but I can't get the bolt out. So in the meantime, the bolt's just kind of sitting there with no nut on it, and that'll probably work its way loose here once I till up some more stuff. But other than that, everything's ready to go on this thing. I've used it to till up my side yard, and you don't really till anything, you just you're along for the ride when it comes to this thing, because it beats you up. But it ran great. Once you controlled the throttle, you revved it really high and put it in activated the transmission by pushing down on the lever here, and it chewed it up. It did great. So the gentleman who will be getting this will be very pleased with it. I'm pleased with it. I can use it a little bit before it becomes someone else's tiller. But can do a somewhat cold start. Yeah, it's cold. Just make sure gas is on. Let's see if it'll behave. Should just be a 1-pull start. So let's find out here. Oh, I didn't get the choke off in time. So we'll call it 1.5. But when it's warmed up, it just takes like barely. You don't even have to pull the rope like a 1/4 of the way, and it's already firing. So this will make a good tiller for another couple of years, and maybe I'll get it again. So that's the end of videos on this thing, guys. So thanks for watching this collection, and if you haven't, check out my other videos, and hope you guys have a good rest of your day.